This week, we've seen parental punishments, departmental deceptiveness, and mayoral motivations. Let's dive right into what's on the pull list. This week, we're going to start things off with The Avengers number 35, written by Jed MacKay with artwork by Sergio Fernandez de Villa. The Avengers are tasked with this unwinnable scenario, right? There's a universe creation bomb that Kang has set to ignite, and like no corner of the multiverse is going to be able to withstand the blast radius of this thing. But don't worry, we're still dealing with a big two book here, so things are gonna be okay. And okay, they prove to be, right? Similar to my feelings with the previous issue on this one, it's kind of just okay. The catalyst for the story is the heroes combining their respective powers, a la the Krakoa era mutants, right? Where they would put everything together and they would become like this, gears of a machine that had created this greater power. And that's kind of what they do throughout this issue. And it's effective, it works. The problem is it's more tell than show. It's a very telly kind of issue. Every hero took their turn to really say, and now through my abilities, I shall do this, and then they hand it off to the next person, they do it, and then so on and so forth, and then those things happen. Davila definitely delivers here. Try saying that 3 times fast. And I dig that this book feels unique in the sea of other Marvel books, right? This feels outside of the landscape of the house style, if you will, right? So Marvel, if you're listening, keep delivering on that different part, please. That would be awesome. Overall, though, just an okay book, but we're ramping up towards the end. I do like how MacKay is bringing in all of the facets of the things he's created for the Avengers universe. So if you're an Avengers fan, I think you're probably going to dig this. All right, next on the docket, we have Batman number 6, written by Matt Fraction with artwork by Jorge Jimenez. So while Bruce's date may be over, his frustrations are far from done as he takes hit after hit after hit, both as Bruce and Batman individually. On top of all that, we get some changes to the landscape of what is the Robin mantle, right? The hero that takes on that identity. So here's the thing, though. How is it that every single panel feels like it could be its own splash page? What type of witchcraft is Jorge Jimenez really dabbling in to make this kind of thing work? Because it's arguably the most energetic, kinetic, exciting looking book that is hitting stands each and every month. The artwork, everyone's going to be saying it, right? It is like just stunning, right? It is just some of the most pitch perfect looking books that you're going to see within the superhero genre, right? But on top of that, what a story, too. This Batman feels authentic in ways I haven't felt in a long time. It's as though Bruce is a living, breathing person who has issues and struggles. And it's not just with being a superhero, it's also with being a parent and being a partner and being part of a family. All of that stuff is intermixed and dabbled with, right? And I think that's what makes this issue so strong, is that it gets some Batman stuff that's going on, but really it's the interconnectivity between all the people within the Batman family, particularly his sons. And I really enjoyed that about this issue. All right, let's ramp up the silly and talk DCKO Boss Battle number 1, written by Jeremy Adams with artwork by Carmine Diagimenico, Ronan Klitik, and Kiernan McCown. So to gather enough Omega energy to take on the absolute universe heroes, which we kind of saw at the very end of DCKO number 3, the heroes have got to do battle within the multiverse, right? And we're not talking the DC multiverse, we're talking just the multiverse. We're talking about IDW properties, we're talking about movie properties, video game properties. And at the end of the day, this is so stupid, right? Fun, but definitely incredibly stupid and ultimately inconsequential. You can really skip this completely and not even know you missed anything, right? It does that thing where it resets everything that happens within this issue back to the beginning, and it's a little bit of a cheat, if I'm being honest. The properties that they bring in, they only get like a minute to breathe and live within this battle before it's already over. So it's not like you get a lot of time to spend with these other characters that are outside of DC. And it was okay. It was fun to see, like Lex Luthor and Samantha from Beneath the Trees do battle, but you can't even really call it a battle. Like, it was nothing more than a couple pages, if that, for each one of these things. So, was it fun? Yes. Do you need it? No way. All right, let's talk Department of Truth number 35, written by James Tynion with artwork by Martin Simmons. At this point of the story, all factions now within this book are vying for power as Oswald meets with the Black Hat and Cole is building up his kind of like own department. The narrative is so interesting in this series that these recent issues have really turned everything on its head. It's a really fun way that they're looking at everything. Because remember, at the onset of the series, Cole was being brought into the Department of Truth because of his interactions with the manifestations of what didn't exist previously, right? And now he's kind of turning that on its head. He's using that as his own power to take on the department and really just the notion of how all of this stuff is manifesting. With that being said, though, the art is very masterful, but it lacks a visual clarity, right? If that makes sense. And it's really somewhat difficult to follow the who, what, when, where, and why of each and every page. In fact, there are pages here that kind of lead your eye to the right and then back to the left, which is inherently against what you are supposed to be doing within a comic. It looks gorgeous, but the storytelling mechanism and the clarity of it really kind of make it a little bit messy, and it's kind of hard to dictate, okay, who said that? Why are they saying it? Where are we at right now? And why is my face turning this way when I'm reading the comic? So, overall, really good experience, but there's some fine tuning in the storytelling that needs to happen. Next up, we have Night Fight number 1, written by Matt Kindt with artwork by David Latham. A superhero not unlike Superman is tested, right? When a reoccurring villain makes him question whether he's had enough of the ping pong match that can be justice. And all the while, with that happening, a data analyst works through the mundane nature of life that seems really, really similar to the world that kind of revolves around this hero as well. This was a really strong introductory issue. I honestly was going to skip this because the last couple Matt Kindt books that I've read just didn't click with me, even though I'm a really big fan. And I'm glad that, someone, Nick Comic Culture in particular, convinced me, hey, you need to dive into this because I think that they're playing with something special. And special this is, right? We see Kent playing with a lot of different ideas that we've seen before in the superhero landscape, like a hero's willingness to kill, a la the Killing Joke in Batman, or dissociative identity disorder similar to like the Sentry at Marvel. There's this great sense of cohesion though within those ideas that bring it together in a really unique special way that I really want to see explored. Latham's artwork really fits the bill here too. Matt and David, they've worked together on a couple different projects before, and it feels like it just works, right? They are just puzzle pieces that absolutely fit together perfectly. I really love this team. This introductory issue, the ideas that they're playing with and the setup and the way that the story was structured was really, really satisfying. I can't wait to see where they're going to take it from here. Vertigo is officially back, so let's talk The Nice House by the Sea, number 7, written by James Tynion with artwork by Alvaro Martinez Bueno. So the houses have realized that they're not alone, and the Sea House is ready to ensure that they survive this experience at the expense of anything, including the lake house. I've skipped plenty of issues at this point. I stopped at issue number 2, but I'm back now, and it was a pretty awesome experience. I've been here before, yes. I've been kind of lulled into the awesomeness that can be a James Tynion book, but here we are again, right? And I'm willing to put myself back out there. It's weird, but pretty awesome. I think my struggles with Tynan is that I've never read a single issue that has delivered just what I needed, right? In that concise, just single issue format that leaves me wanting more. There's always gotta be that more, right? But I think that he is more of a trade writer than a single issue writer. And maybe if I wrap my head around that a little bit more, I will have a more enjoyable experience with his work overall. That's not bad, right? It's a me thing. It's a challenge month over month, and I think I'm going to try to recalibrate and figure out if I can make that work within my enjoyment of this. The artwork is absolutely brilliant, though, and I think that's one of the best traits of James Tynion is that he brings in collaborators that don't necessarily fit the bill for comics, but work very well within that comic landscape and bring such a unique voice to the visuals that are these books. This is no different here. I'm excited. I'm going to give this another shot. We'll see where it goes, but Nice House is kind of awesome. Next up, we have Poison Ivy number 41, written by G. Willow Wilson with artwork by David Gianfelici. Old Pam is in the clink and nobody can really help her. Not Janet, not Harley, and not the other Green Knights. But she has a head scratcher of a plan. All right, so let's talk the story first. I definitely didn't see that end coming. But in that same way, I also kind of get where they're going to go with this, right? Get into politics to stay out of jail. That kind of is a tried and true plan, and we see it all around us in real life sometimes too, right? We get another great outing here from Gianfelici as well, and it just looks great. The visuals absolutely work. I'm going to echo the same thing I said before. Really nice, thick inks, organic looking in ways that maybe previous artwork didn't have. And it's equally as good, right? I feel like it fits the bill in the same way that Marcio's work had done in previous, runs on this series. So Poison Ivy, it's ramping up. It's becoming more intertwined with Gotham right now. And from what I understand, it's going to really play into Batman proper and Batgirl moving forward. So I'm excited to see where they take this. All right, let's talk The Savage Sword of Conan, number 12, written by Chris Rael with artwork by Gabriel Rodriguez. So Conan is knocking on death's door and he encounters an elderly woman who cures him of this thing that has overtaken his body, right? And the caveat with her saving him is that he needs to therein save the elderly woman's daughters from this otherworldly force. It's pretty awesome for like a one and done Conan type of story, right? I think that's the strength of this character in this world is that you get to tell these really enticing stories and you can be done just like that. And that's exactly what we get here. We have a team up, right? He encounters some other people here. We get that Hyborian bravado that Conan is known for. We get the old switcheroo with what is maybe perceived to be a villain. Just all the classic, fodder that is Conan, right? Rodriguez also brought this exaggerated yet hyper detailed look to the book that I really enjoyed. Great storytelling, and I really love when they, do that thing where they make you interact with the book, and this definitely does that, right? It makes you flip it to kind of read from an upside down perspective because they're traversing down into this abyss. That's really cool, so long as they're not doing it on every page, and this definitely does not do that. Savage Sword is just a feast, right? It is something for every Conan fan that's going to be just outside of what you generally are going to get from the Conan proper book. And we get these great one and done stories. This is no different. Make sure you're checking this out, even if you're not a Conan fan. Let's talk Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant, number 1, written by Mirowe Aodeli with artwork by Federica Mancine. There's a couple things that are working with this issue, right? As an introductory issue, I would be so lost as to what is going on here. But as a continuation of the series that we had previously, this works, and it works really, really well. So Storm meets with the thunder god that she bested in the previous series, only to have him request that she take his life. And all the while that's happening here, we have a war that's being waged that really calls into question if Aurora can live up to the goddess moniker that she and others have put upon her. It feels very bold, right? Very daring for this series. And I don't see that from most superhero stories. Mirowe is taking his time to explore the notion of gods and living, with the mortals and the present real struggles that aren't just the type of struggles that are fixed by punching bad guys. I feel like there's a lot of heady, weighty things that are being played with here that, again, are outside of the scope of superheroics. And I really enjoy that from that. And on top of that, we're still playing in that cosmic landscape that he has thrown Storm into. And man, what a great idea that has not been explored yet. And I get so excited to see the continuation of that exploration. I feel like this is a character that could become cosmic in the same way that Jean Grey is and kind of known within that landscape in such a big bad way. And I really, really, really get excited thinking about all the possibilities. Time will tell on where he goes with this, but I gotta say, Mirowe Aodeli is doing some special things in this book, and I think that everyone should go back to the first series, issue number 1, and play catch up because it's worth it. Next up, we have The Twilight Zone, number 4, written and drawn by Nate Powell. So in this issue, we get a protective sister and an underachieving younger brother that both find this portal to maybe what they perceive to be their dreams. But it's Twilight Zone, so everything isn't exactly what you would anticipate and what you would expect. This one was all right. It was arguably the least Twilight Zone-y feeling book that we've gotten so far, but that's not necessarily bad. It just felt, I don't know, a little bit predictable, if you will. It's not that the twist didn't work, it's that I kinda saw it coming, and I feel like it was set up to where you were expecting it to come from pretty early on in the issue. The art did definitely work, though. I enjoyed the look of everything, particularly the shadow people in this, dream realm when when the younger brother kind of slips through this portal on the yacht, and he kinda gets everything that he wishes, upon himself, right? To be viewed like the way that he sees himself in the mirror. Very interesting stuff here. Visuals totally worked. The story, again, it was not bad, just I saw it coming about a mile away here, so that's the only downside of this, though. I'm still having fun with Twilight Zone, though. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. All right, let's talk Ultimate Endgame number 2, written by Dennis Camp with artwork by Jonas Scharf and Terry Dodson. The Ultimate team is within this time bubble, right? Extracted by Howard Stark to keep the Master trapped. But time is simultaneously doesn't exist and it's also running out at the same time. Yeah, this is clearly a Dennis Camp book with that kind of description, right? So I enjoy the details and the stakes of the story, but it also feels a little fleeting for an event, right? It feels like the anti-event, if you will. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm still kind of pondering, still processing what this event is going to be, what this end cap for the Ultimate Universe is going to be. I feel the same way about the artwork too. Sometimes it works, right? Especially with the overall wackiness of the Howard Stark character and how discombobulated he's come through like, eons being in this time bubble, right? And having time manipulated. But other times it feels like it undercuts the seriousness that this series I feel like should have and sometimes does have. But maybe that's the point. I don't know. And that's kind of a weird thing to be saying about this. We're 2 issues in, it's the end of the Ultimate Universe, and I'm kind of questioning okay, well, I know what this is about, but I don't know where we're going. So I don't know about the effectiveness of this. I think it's going to take another issue to figure out how I feel about this issue looking back. All right, sticking around in the Ultimate Universe, let's talk Ultimate Wolverine number 14, written by Chris Condon with artwork by Alessandro Capuccio. We have Logan, Jean, and Legion, who's inhabiting the body of a sentinel. And it's a quiet moment for them post escaping as Jean kind of adjusts to her newfound freedom. All the while, Ileana is kind of preparing in limbo, and that cannot be a good thing for our trio of heroes. Whiplash, right? That's the word that comes to mind here. And that's kind of where we're at with this series. We get this awesome issue, right? Where it's action packed and there's tons of things happening. And then a really, really quiet issue where, sure, there's a little bit of character development, but it's just really like a lot of not much, right? And that's what we get. And then we get an action packed issue and then an issue where there's not quite much. And it feels like this is one of those not quite much issues, right? It I don't know. It's a little bit of a head scratcher because then it kind of throws into, the my brain like what is my feelings about this series overall? Well, that's what it is, right? I love the awesomeness, but then those quiet moments, I'm not sure if they're as awesome as the other parts of this series, right? The look of the book still continues to be great. I love the rendering. I love Alessandro's approach to the action, right? But the quiet moments end up kind of suffering a little bit because his artwork is so kinetic. So when you take the moment to, I don't know, take a breath, I'm not sure if his work is the best one for it, right? And with that back and forth with the action and quiet, you know what this series feels like? It feels like a sneeze, right? When you're about to sneeze and it's on the cusp and you feel it on the tip of your nose, and then the sneeze goes away. That's what Ultimate Wolverine is. And with my runner up book of the week, let's talk Absolute Superman number 16, written by Jason Aaron and with artwork by Juan Ferreira. The origins of Absolute Hawkman are revealed as he kind of attempts to mentor Kal-El, even though it was kind of like a mentorship that Kal-El never really asked for. I gotta say, this issue was a blast. Hawkman's world weary approach was kind of hilarious as he exposes all of Kal-El's inadequacies to him, like beatdown after beatdown after beatdown, until he doesn't. And when he doesn't, Juan Ferreira makes this book look so freaking good. The same energy and the same like vibes that you got from TMNT specifically in the biggest moments when he was working on that book. Yeah, he gets to bring that over with Absolute Superman, and there's a splash page on here that just works so freaking well as Absolute Superman just like absolutely nails Hawkman and delivers him through building after building after building through the street. It is so awesome to look at, man. Visually, just a feast for the eyes, man. It works so well. Maybe I kind of want Ferreira on an Absolute book. If we can get that delivered somewhere, I'm not even sure if I care what hero it is, but I want that and I want it long standing. So if you can deliver on that, make that happen, DC, because this issue was just an absolute blast. I had such a good time with it. The writing, by the way, with Jason Aaron, the dialogue was just whip smart, and the back and forth from these two characters from very different places in their life absolutely worked. Make sure you check this one out. And with my top comic of the week, let's talk DC KO Night Fight number 4, written by Joshua Williamson with artwork by Dan Mora. Batman learns the true motive, right, behind the Heart of Apocalypse while doing battle with his son Damian. And everything kind of comes to a boiling point and to a culmination between all of the universes and all of the things that Bruce has had to put himself through within the outskirts of the DCKO event. And I can't believe this, but I loved this issue. Sure, it was a bit snappy, but like whatever, it felt right for the story. It was a very breezy issue, and if anything, this is like the pitch perfect like example as to why to not just like dump a series or a mini series because you had one issue that didn't necessarily work. I didn't like issue number 1. In fact, it really rubbed me the wrong way, and I didn't like where they were going with it. But issue 2 got better, and issue 3 got better, and issue 4 was the best amongst the bunch. Joshua Williamson really, at the end of the day, crafted this really heartfelt story for Bruce and the family that he has crafted, and really made, I don't know, it was like an eye-opening experience for the reader through looking through the eyes of Bruce Wayne himself and seeing the sons that he has like brought up and all of the qualities he's imbued them with and all of the individuality that they bring to the table themselves. It was a really, really cool issue, and getting to see this old man Bruce character interact with people that he's never interacted with and may never interact with again really just made this a heartwarming story that was still filled with action and excitement. And Mora, like, let's not forget Dan Mora is on this book, right? Because holy cow, his enthusiasm really shines through here. There's some subtle visual cues that I feel like wouldn't have made like that he wouldn't have made a year ago. I feel like he's like growing as an artist still. And that's incredibly exciting because his storytelling mechanisms are getting better and better the more he is on comics. Let's keep going, Mora. Let's keep going, Williamson. I can't believe it, but this was absolutely worthy of Top Comic of the Week. So that's what I've got for you this week, but I'm more curious. What did you read, and what were your thoughts? Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe, and be part of the panel. Leave me a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you next week.